Oh, there we go.
Hello, everyone. Good night. I would like to welcome all the Toastmasters members. And hopefully on the next one, we have guests. We are happy to be here. Let me share. Okay, our club mission is we provide supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. I'd like to invite you all to stand for us to pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to relinquish control to our Miss President, Susan Schultz.
Yes, thank you, ladies. I'm so happy to have you all here. Our officers have been fully trained, all 7 of our officers, so yay, this is exciting. We have had several of our websites or social media being pinged for people to try to visit us, but I suspect, like everybody else, things get in the way. We do hope that several of them will continue to pursue participation here, and our officers will be able to provide an exciting meeting for our members, and we're trying to work this through an exciting year for us. I am actually going to relinquish control of the meeting now to our word master, Tina Smith, for our word of the day.
Thank you, Madam President. And at this moment, I'll share my screen and show you the word of the day. So today, ladies, our word of the day is ruminate. As you can see, can everyone see my screen? Wonderful.
Recording in progress.
As you can see, it's a verb. It means to meditate or muse or ponder. I'm as jolly as the day is long, except when it's necessary to ruminate on some very difficult subjects. So try to use the word ruminate throughout any speaking opportunity you have for today. Madam President, would you like for me to change the order of the agenda for future reference?
No, it is not necessary. Every club has it a little bit different, word master first or the other. It is without regard. We should follow the agenda, and that would be fine. Next up, we'll look for our Toastmaster of the day, but before we do that, we have an educational moment from our Vice President of Education. So back to you, Tina.
Well, thank you, Madam President. And ladies, we've just had a very educational moment in Pathways on how we can upload our speeches for the people that will be evaluating us. There's 2 ways that our president showed us. There's the easy way, and then there's the way through Pathways. I would suggest you use Free Toast to upload your information in the agenda, and this will help all of our club members as well. But what I want to talk to you today about is sort of on the same lines as having a role in our Toastmaster meeting, and that role, be it any role. Once you've performed a role in Toastmasters, it's important that you annotate that you completed that role. And there's 3 roles that are very important that you annotate. And those roles are table topic master, evaluator, and Toastmaster, because those roles are very important to complete level 3 in your path. It's very important that you do that. If I could have a brief moment, I could attempt to show you how this is done. So I'll have to share my screen again. bring up Toastmaster International. Can everyone see my screen? Double checking. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And this is pretty simple. Probably saying there's nothing simple in Toastmasters, but it is. Now, one of the ways that you can do this is to log into Toastmasters, and you will go into Pathways. Just click on Pathways, drop down menu, or you can click on your name as well. And that's another way that it will bring you into the screen where you will annotate your roles. Now, I don't know why my picture is sideways, but I'll figure that out later. So once you're in the Pathways profile, these are the different clubs that you belong to, but this will take you into these are the different clubs that I belong to, as you can see, for the time being anyway. But I am going to back out of this way, and I'm going to go the Pathways path. And select my account, if I can get to it.
Don't choose a path, go to the base camp.
Yep, clicked on the wrong one.
Okay,
hold on.
There you go.
I'll go back. Thank you, Susan.
You're there.
All right. You go to base camp. And this little icon over here, where your picture is in the top right corner, click My Account. And look at that. There's my name, our time zone, and all the different roles that are in Toastmaster. And as I said before, the most important ones for you to complete level 3 is Topic Master, Evaluator, and Toastmaster. Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind that it doesn't keep track of how many times you've done this role. It just keeps the most recent date that you've performed this role. So keep that in mind, especially when you belong to different clubs, that every time you go in there and perform a role, that date will change. For example, today I'm going to be according to this was the last time I was grammarian, but that's not true. I've only haven't gone in to change it. 2018, that was a long time ago. But I've been general evaluator since then. And because I've met my requirements, I don't always go in and change it like I should. But we are in August 10th. And there it is. And then you hit save. This way, it will keep track of your roles. And it's important, as I said, that you do that so it can fulfill your requirements. That's all I have right now. Does anyone have any questions on how to do that? You go to Basecamp, Manager, and you will see this little gear with your name on it, and you click on My Account, and it comes right up. As long as you're in Basecamp Manager and click on My Account, this will come up. Do you have any questions?
Just, Tina, if you can share with the club members, send out the instructional that Toastmasters has developed, that would be easy for the members to follow. And note that it is also saved on our Google Drive where we have tutorials so that it is beneficial
Absolutely.
to our members.
Absolutely. I will share it with you. You can also go into frequently asked questions. Right now, I'm not going to show you how to do that because my time is limited. But if you'd like to know, I'll also send you each screen that you, or not screen, but each drop down you should click on to get to the tutorial or frequently asked questions about meeting role requirements and how to keep track of your meeting role requirements. So at this time, I'm going to log out and relinquish control to our Toastmaster of the day. Stop sharing my screen. So take it away, Julie.
Thank you very much, Tina. Toastmaster of the day is relatively an easy role, yet I have to ruminate why I have to practice it all the time because I make mistakes. The Toastmaster of the day is the master of the ceremony who has to make sure that we follow the assigned agenda line to make it sure that we are running the meeting smoothly. As customary, we have scheduled speakers, table topics, and evaluations. We are about to start with the scheduled speeches. We have 2 speakers today. The first speaker is going to be evaluated by Mara. So I am kindly asking Mara to please share with us what Lisa is going to talk about and how long she is going to talk about, and if you know the title of the speech. Let's welcome Mara.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. I'd like to, we will have Lisa Ryder doing the presentation mastery. The intention of her speech is to do evaluation, feedback. The title is Kayaking, What You Need to Know Before You Go. The time, I think it's 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, it's 5 to 7 minutes. And this is her level 1 for the presentation mastery.
Thank you very much. Let's welcome Lisa Ryder.
Fellow Toastmasters, my friends, perhaps my water buddies in the future. Have you ever thought about going kayaking? That's the kind of boating that involves a little bit of work. Many times when I'm out there kayaking, I'm looking at people with motors and I'm thinking, I hate you. I don't like having to paddle, but it's good workout. It's good for your arms. And it doesn't cost a lot of money. A kayak is something that you can keep in your garage or beside your house and doesn't cost any money for gas. You don't have to store it anywhere and pay money to store it. And so kayaking is something that is very easily done in Florida quite often, frequently. And if you remember my other speech, water, water everywhere, then you know that there are plenty of places where you can go kayaking. But before you go kayaking, there's some things that you need to consider and some things that you need to have. So one of the first things you need to know is, where are you going? What is the locale like? What is the weather, the wind? And do you have a place where you can put in, is what they call it in kayaking, easily enough? So that's important, is to be able to do some reconnaissance to the area or get information before you go about what it's like. One of the great tools for doing that is your phone. because you can look things up and then you can get a Google view and kind of see where it is, or you can interact with other people who've already been and they'll say, oh yeah, go right down near the bridge or do this. There's a sandy beach, that type of thing, because you need a flat surface to be able to get into the kayak and then push off and be able to take off and go. So that's one of the things that you need to do is, where are you going? What's it like where you're going? Other things that you need are things to consider how to be safe. Again, you should take your phone with you, but to keep your phone safe, you should have a dry bag that you put the phone in that has a cord that goes around your neck. So when you put the phone in and you roll this down and you clip it, now your phone is watertight and you can still operate it through the clear plastic, or you can take it out at a safe point and be able to do whatever you want to do with it, such as take pictures. But the phone is also there for safety, because if something were to happen and the phone stays dry, then you could call for help. And that might be an important thing to do. Another thing that you need when you're considering safety is this. Yeah, I did it. You want, if you flip over or end up separated from the people that you're kayaking with, you want to be able to make noise that could scare away an animal, but also bring people to your aid, because you really ought to know how to right your kayak if you fall out. But if you don't, you need this around your neck so that you can blow the whistle and so somebody can come and help you. Other things that you should consider are good old sunscreen, because out on the water, even though you're near water, you're not in the water. So you are getting burnt, and it can happen in a very short amount of time, especially with the reflection off of the water and the sun coming down on your face. So having some good sunscreen is important. Now, I've taken a little bit of time to get to this, but let's go ahead and state the obvious. You need to have a life jacket. Life jacket zips up, can be adjusted with side belts, and you need to have it where it fits, or at least have it close by. Ideally, you should have it on, but you should have it close by. So a life jacket, a phone, sunscreen, and for other things, having a dry bag. You can put your keys, your wallet. I don't take my wallet, I just take my driver's license, a credit card, and some cash. But I put that in the bag. Then I also have something to eat, something to drink, put the sunscreen in there, other things. Here's another thing that I take, and this is just for fun. It's not for safety, but it is where you can put your phone on here and take pictures at a distance, or to get a large crowd in, that you be able to use this extender. So going out kayaking is something that is a fun thing to do, but I'm going to tell you, something else that you might want to have. Hope that you never need it, but if you have it with you and you need it, you'll be happy you did. And that's some napkins. Because in the unlikely event that Mother Nature tells you you need to go potty, and you have to get off to the side of the river somewhere because you absolutely can't hold it, then having something other than poison ivy would be a good thing. So put that in your dry bag, and then just hope you never need it. And you can just use it to wipe your hands after you had your snack. But if you need it for other purposes, you'll be glad I told you to do that, right? You'll say, oh God, Lisa was so good to tell us that. So going kayaking is a fun thing to do, and it is something that you can go out for an hour, you can go out for several hours. There are some rivers that you have to do all the work. There's other rivers that you put in at the upriver part, and you basically are just floating and just trying to keep yourself out of the bushes. You're not even having to work. You're just doing a float that the river is assisting you with. But whatever you do, you need to make sure that you don't end up in the river without a paddle, because that will make it really hard, and your arms are probably not long enough to do the work that the paddle needs to do. So I implore you to go kayaking. You may need to ruminate about it for a little bit and figure out what you need to do, what you need to have, or where you want to go. But after you've done all that, I implore you to go kayaking and enjoy all of the beautiful places. And that's a great place that you can be with people, but socially distance. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Lisa. I have to say that in order to kayaking in Budapest when I was young, I had to get a license to ride on the river. Just like you have driver's license, we had to get a license first, believe it or not. But I liked it. And we didn't have phones to take with us in those days. I love the speech, and I wonder whether you are ready for a second speech. Of course. And the evaluator, believe it or not, is going to be Lisa to evaluate Rose. What can you tell us about Rose's speech and the title and the length?
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, Roz is doing, I don't know what project it is. Roz, what project is it?
I sent it in the chat. It's on mentoring.
I'm sorry, I was talking. I didn't get to
get
you're
right.
I just sent it. I waited for
you.
you.
No, I know it's mentoring, but what's the project?
Oh, something leadership.
Okay. Anyway, Roz is doing a speech titled Whoa Mentoring, or Whoa Mentoring, as in women mentoring. Her time is 5 to 7 minutes. The purpose of the project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. She's also to share some aspect of a previous experience as a protege. Madam Toastmaster.
Well, I can hardly wait, and I'm pretty sure that you are too. So let's welcome Ro.
Thank you very kindly, ladies. Today, I am supposed to tell you about an experience where I've had the chance to be a protege or a mentee. But truthfully, I cannot think of a single time before Toastmasters where I was in an official mentorship. I wasn't hatched as a fully functioning hen knowing everything. Of course, I was coached and I learned things along the way. And at first I was a little curious when I would hear my peers in high school or college talk about their mentors. And I kind of thought, can't you figure things out for yourself like the rest of us? Why do you need a mentor? Later on, I began to ruminate. And I felt a little bit left out as I saw some of the advantages that mentorship provided to others around me. I just didn't know how they recruited these mentors. How come I wasn't in Big Brothers, Big Sisters? Or how come some successful person at my job didn't adopt me as a mentee? Whatever the case, it never happened for me. So I'll share some of my experiences, some memories that may fit the bill, but weren't quite so defined. One lady who at times was like a mentor to me was someone I worked with and I met at the publishing company Scholastic. We became friendly, and through her, I was introduced to the plus model industry. She later became the founder of Full Figured Fashion Week. But back then, she was just a formal model with a troupe of young women sharing fashion, confidence, and entertainment with women up and down the East Coast. She helped me to develop a different kind of confidence. She taught me how to walk in heels and how to work a runway. She taught me about foundation garments. I don't know if you know what those are. They're like girdles and fajas and Spanx, and the way they can transform the way your clothing works. She even gave me my first on-camera hosting gig. I was interviewing people for what was supposed to be her cable access TV show. She was kind and patient. She was also really funny and injected humor into most of her lessons. She wanted to see everyone win. But if I did something wrong, I'd hear about it, and she was always able to provide feedback on the ways that I could improve. She celebrated my wins and was a great sounding board for my thoughts and ideas. Another unofficial mentor was an older cousin whom I greatly admired. She had a successful career, and I remember when I just completed my bachelor's degree. I was working on my graduate degree. I asked her for some professional advice, like, hey, you're successful. How'd you do it? So we got together, we sat in a restaurant, and she brought all of her performance reviews. She kept every single one of them. And I looked through them and I read the wonderful feedback she had. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. Sadly, I didn't know the right questions to ask back then, which I learned later on. You know, hindsight is 2020. We discussed a ton of things, and I don't recall most of the details. But she was an awesome cousin, and she still is a great resource whenever I have dilemmas or questions. When I was living in Queens in October of 2017, I was offered a transfer to Orlando beginning a couple of weeks later in November. And she came to my rescue. She came up to New York from Virginia and spent the weekend with me. And she helped me to organize, to purge, and to pack. I haven't the foggiest idea how I would have gotten all of that done without her help and her sensibility, because when it comes to that stuff, I don't have any. My mom-ter is not to be forgotten. My mother has always been there to teach and lead by example. And from an early age, my mom instilled the value of family and honoring thy parents. As a young child, I was active in the care of my elderly maternal grandparents. And growing up in a family where the award-winning matriarch taught both her sons and her daughters how to cook, I was able to pick up some really good tips and tricks from my mom in the kitchen. Another thing I've learned from my mother in recent years is the art of floral decoration or flower arrangement, which I learned from her through her ministry at her church running the Flower Guilds. I imagine it would have been fun to have some famous women as mentors. I think Oprah would have taught me that it is in giving that we truly receive. And maybe Michelle Obama might have taught me a little bit about class and dignity, because I do not always want to go high, but there's value in doing so. I think both of them would have had some words of wisdom for me when it comes to hard work, because they know all about it, and I'm kind of allergic to hard work. So perhaps they would have instilled a greater value for hard work within me. I am grateful to my official Toastmaster mentor, my supportive Susan, as well as to many of you who have encouraged me. I wasn't entirely sure that Toastmasters was for me, but I was welcome to join. And I was invited to return after a really long absence, and celebrated and encouraged to spread my wings and step up to new challenges. Here, I have increased my confidence. I've improved my presentation skills. And I think Toastmasters on the whole is kind of like a general mentorship where we all take turns, indirectly being mentors and mentees. And I am truly thankful to have found a place that feels like home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ro. I didn't expect anything less of you, that's for sure. I personally think that the word mentor probably didn't even enter my vocabulary until I came to America after 30 years old. But we can consider all those human contacts, resources for development, just like Ro was explaining to us. I love this speech.
Thank you.
Well, the next thing on our agenda is table topics. And guess who is the table topic master today? Julie Salgo. So I am going to ask each and every one of you a question or say a statement. And Susan will be my first target. I ruminate the idea that she will be able to respond to the first statement I will say. Tell us one thing that most of us do not know about you. And if you are willing to share, of course.
Madam Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, I often feel that I'm an open book and that everybody knows everything about me. But that's not true. There are many things that I don't talk about on a regular basis. One of them was that I went to an all-boys college. Yes, it was the first year they opened up to women. They allowed us to come in, 1969 it was. There were 50 girls on a campus with 950 young men. Now you might think that was good for dating. Not so much. Turns out the seniors all thought we were there for our MRS degree. And I didn't really get what that was for a while. It was just to get married. I go, no, that's not me. I want my degree. There were quite a number of the young men that didn't like the idea that girls were there because they were jocks. And they wanted to run around the campus naked, streaking. That was a big thing in '69. And they didn't like that they couldn't use the kind of language in front of ladies. Then there was a small portion of our group that didn't date girls at all. They preferred the boys. So that's why they went to an all-boys college. It was my first introduction to the LGBTQ and all the rest of that. I make no judgments, but it wasn't really good for dating, oddly enough. And that's one thing that I think most of you didn't know about me up until now. Madam Topic Master.
I love this. I have been friends with Susan and I didn't know that. Thank you. Tina will be the next. What is the job you definitely would not want to have, wouldn't have wanted to have in the past tense?
Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, what job wouldn't want to have?
Yes.
Well, I've had the occasion to watch that show that comes on TV called Dirty Jobs. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it or heard about it,
No.
But it shows some very disgusting jobs out there. And this guy is making a living going out to all of these different places and actually doing the job himself. But one job I would not want to have that comes to mind is changing porta potties. I would not want to change a porta potty that's been sitting out in public in 105-degree heat. Can you imagine the smell of that porta potty? That's the one weakness I have is smells. I cannot tolerate bad smells. They make me, of course, want to use that porta potty in a different way. But that's the one job I could think of off the top of my head so very quickly is changing porta potties, going around and dumping those things. Well, I shouldn't say dump because nowadays they have a machine that sucks all that waste out of those porta potties. But then what do they do with all that waste once they suck it all out? They have to do something with it. They have to dump those trucks. But Madam Table Topic, that is one job I would not want to do.
Well, Tina, somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. The next thing I will ask Ro, imagine that you want to write your autobiography. What title would you give it?
Unwritten is the title that I would give my autobiography if I were to write an autobiography today, because there is so much that has been left unwritten. I'm embodying Natasha Bedingfield, the name of that lady who had the song Unwritten. I think that would be the title of my book because it would be interesting. I think people would be curious. Who would write a book and say that it hasn't been written? What does that mean? And they would learn about my past and my belief for my present or my perception of it, and hopefully my hopes for the future. Perhaps my autobiography would be more inspirational for what can be and what could be, because I don't think I've accomplished so much that's so interesting. I hope and I pray that the best is yet to come, not just for me, but for all of us. So Unwritten would be my autobiography, and truly the biography for everyone. My answer is Unwritten.
I love it. I encourage you to take notes today. And when you are my age, you write your autobiography for your children and grandchildren.
That's a lovely idea. Will you find me a husband?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
I don't have any rings.
Anyway, Mara will be the next. And I'm going to ask you, what kind of musical instruments have you played in your life?
Thank you, Joey. I learned to play piano when I was a kid. And I have a family that my mom's family, everybody plays something. They're very good at music and hearing. But unfortunately, I didn't have that gene. So my mom tried. I took, I think, 5 or 6 years lessons on piano, but I cannot play even Happy Birthday nowadays. Yeah, I didn't keep studying when I stopped when I was a kid, but because I realized that I didn't have that gene. I had to study a lot, and as I stopped, I don't remember anything at all. And my brother, my uncles, everybody plays something by here, and they never stopped to study. So it's why I couldn't stand for that, because I was keeping studying, and then I forgot everything. I forgot everything. So, but I really enjoy music because of my family history. I tried to play piano, but I wasn't successful to that. And what it's good that I can have that perception, musical perception, that I saw that my nephew, when he was 2 years old, he was very good to hear. And I saw that, and he started studying piano since he was 3, because I saw that he was good at that. So my piano lessons at least gave me good hearing, not good actions, but good hearing at least. Thank you, Madam.
You said the most important thing. We have to enjoy music, not necessarily play an instrument. Enjoy your music, because music heals everything. Lisa, may I please ask you to participate also? All right. Was there a commercial, or is there a commercial that you actually liked?
Madam Topic Master, I love sarcastic commercials, and sometimes I forget what they're even trying to sell. And recently, my grandchildren were with, maybe I was with them, and I was reflecting back on some of the really funny Geico commercials that have existed over the years. And I remembered that there was one where a guy is laying on a psychologist's couch or a psychiatric couch or whatever, and he's talking about his feelings, but the psychologist is like a drill sergeant from the Marines. And so the guy is like sharing his feelings, and then the guy goes, "Well, you big sissy," or something like that. And he just like yells at him. And I just get tickled about that, because it's one of those things that you don't see it coming and then boom, it hits you. And so I think that one's funny, but I like a lot of the Geico commercials are where they say, "It's about as funny as," or I like the woodchucks. "Quit chucking my wood, you woodchucks." And they just keep throwing the wood in the river or the whatever. But I just think that they're funny. I like things that make me laugh. So I think that those are great commercials. And if I have to be more serious, then I can say Publix certainly knows how to do some great commercials. They've got one out right now where it's people trying foods that they don't even know what they are. And you can see that the people are from all different countries, and they are not necessarily matched with each other. Like somebody's from another country interacting with somebody else, and they're trying their food. And then after it's all said and done, of course, I guess you're supposed to go to Publix to buy all this food, but they just talk about, let's be friends, let's be together, let's eat together and enjoy time. And I think you can watch the Publix commercials, and before it's over, you're like, that's Publix. And sure enough, it is. So those are some of the commercials that get my attention. Madam Topic Master.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I cannot stand when they advertise medications, but other than that, there are some funny ones. Now let's review who said what. Susan was sharing with us something we didn't know about her. Tina definitely wouldn't want to empty those potties. Ro is about to write her autobiography when I get her a husband. And then Mara was talking about music loving and not necessarily playing the piano. And Lisa was commercial related. So you can send me your votes in the chat. As far as my role as Toastmaster of the day, I would like to welcome the general evaluator, who is Tina.
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. Fellow Toastmasters, it's now time for the portion of our meeting where the speakers get to hear wonderful golden nuggets on how well they did and areas they can improve upon. So to evaluate our first speaker, which was Lisa, will be Toastmaster Mara. So please help me welcome Mara.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Lisa did the 5 to 7 minutes presentation mastery, and with the title Kayaking, What You Need to Know Before You Go. First of all, Lisa, I'd like to reinforce how good energy you showed in this speech. And that was amazing to see you arrived showing that you had so many errands in your day, but you showed very good energy, and we could see in your face that you were relaxed and enjoying to talk about something that probably you love to do. We could feel that very clearly. It was amazing to see that besides you look like that you didn't prepare the speech, but how prepared you were. You brought the objects that you'd like to use in your speech. That was amazing. And we are glad that we could do the Zoom meeting because you could bring everything. And then for sure, if you were at Perks, for example, probably you wouldn't take all those objects with you. So we are glad that we could see that. It was amazing that you point out regarding the location that we need to take a look before to go kayaking, and you show the phone. About the safety, you point out 5 things that we should use as safety. And was interesting to see that before you did the last one, which was the dry bag, we did a summary of the others for us to remember the other 4. And then you put everything in the dry bag for us to remember everything. So that was a very interesting thing. Hand gesture was very nice to see, as usually you show very comfortable. You said about sun going into their face. You could see your hand gesture. Besides, you are seated in your place, but you could see you moving. Nice eye contact with all of us. We could see that. Well, you added fun in the end, showing about the extender, not just the serious things. You were laughing. I think it was the first time that I saw in your speech, you're laughing very openly. And then in the end, you add a device as a conclusion, and then did a fun statement about the pedal, showing that in the end. I really didn't note anything that I would give something for your improvement. I just enjoy your speech tonight, and you did a very good job. And I really appreciate that you shared about those things about kayaking. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Mara. For our next speaker, which was Toastmaster Rosa, she will be evaluated by Toastmaster Lisa. So Lisa, take it away.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Roz. Roz, your title was Woe Mentoring and Woman-tring, and the play on the fact that you have been touched by several key women in your life. I like the fact that you took the time to talk about who they were to you and then what they did for you. And in the way that you described them and what you got from that interaction with them, I felt like I knew them a little bit. And I thought you did a great job. I also think that the things that they were regarded for and the things that you had ruminated over what they had brought to your life was something that I hope that they get to hear, because I thought that those were all some really powerful things that you gleaned from them that they may or may not know that they did. But the fact that they did, the fact that it impacted your life, I thought you did a great job. One of the things that I would want to challenge you on is be careful that you know what your project has asked you to do. Part of your project asked you to share from the perspective of a protege and to talk about being a protege and what you learn, and you nailed that. That was fantastic. But the other thing that I felt like you maybe didn't develop as fully, since it was basically a 50% of protege and this other one, is that your project asked you to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. So I think taking a little bit of time and maybe talking about the Toastmasters mentoring program, you did talk about that Susan is your mentor and that you've gained a lot from her. But as far as when this says clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring, I don't think you actually maybe nailed that as clearly as you could have, since those two things were the purpose of the speech. From the perspective of mentoring in general, and like you said, Toastmasters is a mentoring program in its overall capacity. I think you did a fantastic job. And as usual, one of the things that is so delightful about you is just your personal presentation. You are a joy to listen to and a joy to watch because you light up. You're so engaging and endearing and downright cute. So I think you did fantastic with that. I think you do a good job with eye contact, with movement. You could probably have moved and become a little bit more physical if you stood up, which the same thing would apply to me as well. And I think that you had good structure on how you laid out all of the people that you were going to talk about and what you shared about that. So great job on the speech. Great job on making us think about the women who've impacted our lives and the mentors that we have and the benefit that we get from them. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lisa. It's now time for us to hear from our technical team, and I'll start with our timer. Susan, could you give us our times for today?
Yes, Madam General Evaluator. Our two speakers within standard time, 5 to 7 minutes. Lisa spoke for 7 minutes and 9 seconds. And Roz, I must apologize. I was ruminating so much about your speech, I actually forgot to turn on the timer and had to estimate how much time I had in. But I got you at 6 minutes and 20 seconds, which I guess is within a few seconds of where you were. But I was listening so diligently and go, oops, it's my turn to time. All right, next we had our table topics. Everyone was well within the prescribed time of 1 to 2 minutes. I spoke about something most of you didn't know about me, 1 minute and 57 seconds. Tina spoke about the one job she wouldn't want to have, nor would I, 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Roz decided that the title of her autobiography would be unwritten, but we do hope you get to write it someday because it'll be fabulous. 1 minute and 12 seconds. Mara, musical instrument she played was piano, 2 minutes on the dot. And by the way, Julie's brother is a world famous pianist, world famous, Viktor Frankl. So just be on the know of that. So I'm sure you endeared her heart when you said piano. Lisa, you like those Geico commercials, and boy, they are funny. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Going to our evaluations, Mara, prescribed time 2 to 3 minutes, 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Lisa, 3 minutes and 21 seconds. We did awesome. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Susan, for that wonderful timers report. It's now time for our grammarian, which is me. So I will start with our report. Julie, you had 4 ums. Mara, you had 3 ums. Lisa, you had 2 so's and an unnecessary but and 2 ands. Rosa, you had 2 ums and 4 ands. And Susan, you were clean. For our grammarian's report, Julie, I didn't catch anything, but I would like to say, because you are Hungarian and the way you phrase your words, I love some of the phrases you come up with sometimes, the way you formulate your words. I really appreciate that. For Mara, you used the word of the day twice, Julie. Mara, you had but I, my nephew, I, you didn't, and a you, and a your. Grammatically, for double clutches, you had my mom's family, and then you switched to everybody. I wasn't sure if that was a grammatical error, but the way you used it, it sounded like it was a double clutch. And ever start to study, it was not used in the correct grammatical sense. So keep that in mind. I think that if you would enunciate more, I could hear you more clearly if you enunciate more. Let's see, for Lisa, you used the word of the day twice. You had you could to I am going to tell you, and then you switch streams and said at the your whatever. It's not a grammatical error, but it's not necessary. And you can. You had often, frequently. I didn't know if that was grammatically right, so I put a question mark by that one. Put on easily enough. Kind of questioned that as well. But I liked how you used the word ideally, gleaned, and nailed that. Rosa, didn't catch anything grammatically. I loved how you said hatched as a hen. I love that. So when I use it in my speech, I'll give you credit for it. Foundational garments. I never heard that before. So I like that, the undergarments that women wear. Very good. Allergic to hard work. I like that as well. Bless you. And you blew us a kiss at the end. So I really like that. Susan, you used the word of the day. Rosa, you used the word of the day. And those are both our reports, all of our reports for today, I might ask. And my overall assessment of our meeting. We had two wonderful speeches. Lisa, your speech was fun and informative. I was really into the kayaking because I just finished watching the Olympics and I tried to watch every single event. And that wasn't very smart considering the time change. Not the time change, but the time difference. Rosa, I think Susan or Lisa, when she was giving you your evaluation, the way you speak is so conversational, and I just love it. And all your expressions and excitements and your word choices is just fabulous. You're a great speaker, You really know how to draw people into your conversations. So I appreciate that. Julie, your table topics were great. The questions you asked, Julie, I write them down because it's questions that I could ask when our family reunion comes up, when they have dead space and trying to kill time. I'm going to introduce Toastmasters through table topics. And I'm going to just pick people out in the audience and ask them these questions and see what happens. But you have some great questions, Julie. So the meeting was great. Despite it was just a few of us, we were still mighty and powerful. So I appreciate you ladies for being here. With that said, I'd like to relinquish control back to our Toastmaster of the day, who will let us know who was our favorite table topic person.
I will be glad to do that. Before I reveal the favorite table topic, I just want to say, Mara, we have Pim Papart, who is not only an American person, and during Toastmasters meetings, she actually developed so wonderfully that her English is absolutely amazing. So Mara, stick with us, and you will be just super duper with the English language. And by the way, you said 2 hours while I was saying 5 hours or something. So you are better than you were when you joined. So that was my addition to encourage Mara. You will be terrific. And as far as table topic winner, I have to say that it was my friend Susan Schultz. Congratulations. And with this wonderful news, I'm going to give back the virtual microphone to our VP of Education, who is Tina Smith.
Thank you. Well, ladies, you have your pick. I would like to say I'll give a speech next week